The full cost of Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull's Snowy Hydro expansion could hit nearly $12 billion by the time the project is built and the federal government negotiates a buyout of New South Wales and Victoria's stake in the scheme. But the cost blowout, revealed in a new feasibility study, has failed to dampen the coalition's enthusiasm, with Environment and Energy Minister Josh Frydenberg on Thursday promising the technically challenging undertaking will go ahead and Australians will be better off for it. The study found the project was viable and could be switched on within 7 years, contributing enough new electricity to power hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses as Australia's energy network transitions from coal to renewables. However, Snowy Hydro Limited refused to release 3 key chapters of the study covering commercial projections, business modelling and detailed cost estimates, citing commercial sensitivities. The decision infuriated Labor, which said the public had a right to scrutinise the fundamentals of the project and its potential impact on household power bills. Snowy Hydro Limited Chief Executive Officer Paul Broad defended the exclusions but said he hoped to release one element, modelling of the benefits of pumped hydro over new battery and gas technology, in the new year. Mr. Broad agreed the project was expensive, but it stacks up economically. It carried an initial price tag of $2 billion, but the unexpectedly complex geology of the area has contributed to the cost rising as high as $4.5 billion. Another $2 billion would be needed to build new transmission lines to get the extra power to the grid. The focus has now shifted from whether it can be built to the politics of how it will be paid for. Snowy Hydro Limited is part owned by the New South Wales and Victorian governments, the latter of which has said it wants nothing to do with the expansion. Mr. Turnbull is prepared to buy the states out, which based on recent valuations would see New South Wales receive about $3.5 billion and Victoria $1.75 billion. Fairfax Media understands the $5.25 billion needed to fund the takeover would be added to the nation's gross debt, although the Commonwealth would enjoy full ownership of a lucrative asset. The cost of the line upgrades would be borne by distributors and customers. Snowy Hydro has said it can fund the construction through savings and borrowings, and is predicting an 8% return on investment, meaning the project will ultimately pay for itself. It means the total cost of the buyout, construction and new transmission lines associated with Snowy 2.0 could hit $11.75 billion. Victorian Labor Treasurer Tim Pallas said his state did not want to be part of the Snowy expansion as a shareholder but would only sell in unison with New South Wales. As we've always said, repeatedly, we're not fans of Snowy Hydro 2.0, Mr. Pallas said. New South Wales would only say it was still in discussions over selling its stake. Both states have balked at a condition from the federal government that the proceeds can only be spent on priority infrastructure projects. Mr. Frydenberg said the costs of not proceeding with the Snowy expansion were greater than going ahead.